What an amazing day it is to all our listeners. This is your local radio station, Prophet Talk. Today we have two influential people who some may consider to be prophets. But what is a prophet, Jaden?
That's a very good question, Esma. I'd like to think of a prophet as someone dedicated to doing good in the world with no expectations in return. Now, our ideas of prophets may differ, so let's get this started, and the listeners can decide for themselves. Well, just yesterday, I was watching the Ellen DeGeneres show and realized she's very inspiring, as well as being called a prophet by St. Peter's Ecuador experience. That got me wondering about all the work she's done. So let's welcome Ellen to briefly speak with us today.
I am Ellen and I was born on January 26, 1958. I am happily married to Portia de Rossi since 2008. I have starred in my own sitcom Ellen from 1994 to 1998 as well as The Ellen Show from 2001 to 2002.
Thank you so much for sharing, Ellen. So I recently found out she supported 51 charities and foundations and supported 31 causes. She talks about and raises awareness for many topics, good and bad. She's raised $1 million for the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles, spoke out against Proposition 8, which was a bill going to be passed to make gay marriage illegal. She donated money to Hurricane Harvey relief and delivered a message of hope after the Los Angeles shooting. She also joined the #Me movement and talked about sexual assault. All of these things she's done on her own talk show, which around 4.2 million people watch each episode. She's a huge impact on society. Her main mission is the Ellen Fund. Ellen, would you care to describe what this project is all about?
This will help continue Diane's work to protect and study endangered mountain gorillas. I found out that gorillas and humans share 98% of the same DNA. They're one of the most endangered animals in the world. This project will not only help save these magnificent animals, but will also help the local community find ways to thrive alongside the gorillas. I know I would want to save endangered animals.
Some characteristics Ellen has are that she critiques injustice and suffering in the world. She challenges those in power to make better choices that can fix the wrongs done towards the poor, as well as always defending the poor and voiceless people in society. She has enormous courage and conviction in speaking out against oppressive situations and was always prosecuted and mocked as being out of touch with reality when she came out as lesbian. Ellen has also talked about gay rights. She's been married to her wife for 8 years. In 1997, Ellen appeared on an episode of The Oprah Winfrey Show, where she came out as a lesbian. At this time, being a lesbian was not the social norm. It was sometimes even considered to be socially unacceptable. So after Ellen came out, she was not looked up to as a role model to young women, and was sometimes even frowned upon. But she persevered, and now many people look up to her and admire her. I, for one, thinks it takes a lot of courage to speak about such a controversial topic, especially if it could come back to ruin her career. Her dedication to her work is just the beginning of all the good she's doing in the world. Now, I want to switch the tone up a bit and hand it off to my partner to welcome a new idea of what a prophet is.
Thanks, Jaden. On a completely different note, I recently came across this article talking about this new religious movement known as Heaven's Gate. While Ellen was committed to her humanitarian work and openly identified as gay, in the state right next to her was Heaven's Gate's leader, Marshall Applewhite, who dedicated his time to his work and through his religious upbringing did not support gay rights. Today we have him here to talk to us about his journey to the creation of this group.
My name is Marshall Applewhite, and I was born and raised in Texas in 1931 to a minister and grew up very religious. When I went to prison, I had several visions, specifically one in which I was told that I was chosen for a role like that of Jesus. Then, in 1972, I began researching astrology and biblical prophecy.
As I continued reading the article, you talked about your prediction about the end of the world and the aim of the group. I did some research and found a video titled The Initiation, so let's watch it.
Planet Earth about to be recycled. Your only chance to evacuate is to leave with us.
If any of you listeners haven't read the article or can't quite tell what he is referring to, let Applewhite quickly summarize his mission for you.
In 1996, I had learned about the comet Hale-Bopp and rumors of a spaceship. I concluded this spaceship would take all our spirits for a journey to another planet. The only way to survive is to join us in entering the kingdom of heaven.
Now, this article goes on for pages talking about his prophecies on planet Earth being recycled. The most important part of this is his preaching and claim of being like Jesus, which led his cult to mass suicide before the end of the world in 2027. He preached about the destruction of our body, which is God's temple, as the only way to survive. His main focus was to commit mass suicide to enter the kingdom of heaven. When this article started mentioning him as Jesus, I began wondering why that was. Turns out, Applewhite never actually had an indication from God that he was the true prophet. There was no dialogue between him and God about his mission. His so-called sign was not from God, but rather an extraterrestrial creature and the stars. On the screen, we show the 39 members wearing all black tunics and Nikes after eating applesauce chased with cyanide. Applewhite manipulated the members into making a video to indicate they were willing to move on to the next level before dying. Let's take a listen to one of the members' tapes.
There's so much I want to say to you. Just about anything that would be of any significance to you is already on Heaven's Gate. I mean, this is kind of, in one sense, kind of silly. I would really strongly recommend.
When I first watched this tape, I instantly thought about how Applewhite's influence must have been so strong that it could blind people from the truth. So what exactly happened to the money deposited by the members prior to entering the organization?
I collected hundreds of thousands of dollars each from all the members. Then I used that money to buy myself nice things and treat myself to luxuries.
Okay then, well, that is all, Mr. Applewhite. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. As we reach the end of our interview, we can see all this information pointing towards Applewhite as a false prophet. After hearing about Ellen's humanitarian work, this certainly raises a few red flags. What led him to believe this comet theory, and what was the evidence? Despite his facade for doing this for God, the biggest question of all is how he switched from a religious Christian to claiming himself as a Messiah who found a way into the kingdom of heaven. While we can never know his true motives behind this besides earning major publicity, all we can hope is that no one attempts to follow in his footsteps. Now, you know the difference between the mission of a true prophet and a false prophet. So that is it for today. Join us next time as we stir up an even more interesting topic.